The new COVID-19 vaccine is now available. The Fulton County Board of Health has updated COVID booster shots and flu vaccines to fight the latest variants of each illness. Remember, vaccines work. We've done an excellent job of staying up to date on vaccines, reducing the number of illnesses in our community. Continue to protect yourself and others by making an appointment at the nearest Board of Health location. The Fulton County Board of Health is here to serve you. Stay current. Visit FultonCountyBOH.com or call 770-520-7500 for more info.
Welcome to Rogue Media Network. You have a vision, and we can help you broadcast it. With over 150 podcasts distributed locally, nationally, and internationally, we pride ourselves in delivering high-quality professional content that's filled with humor, information, and entertainment. Are you an avid podcast listener? Discover relatable and reliable shows that cater to a plethora of tastes and interests. From enlightening discussions to lighthearted banter, there's something for everyone. And here's the best part. You can start your own show with Rogue Media Network. We specialize in providing a platform to amplify diverse voices and perspectives, making sure everyone gets a chance to be heard. So why wait? Tune into our podcast and explore a world of ideas and stories, or step up and let the world hear yours. Call us today at 254-300-7982. Visit us at roguemedianetwork.com or send us an email at hello@roguemedianetwork.com. Join the podcast revolution with Rogue Media Network today.
Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three childhood best friends lose their damn minds. And also
where
drink
three
wine.
childhood friends whine.
Why? Yeah, we're three childhood best friends whine a lot because they're tired and it's the holidays and it's, as we record this, it's December 2nd, which means I'm checked the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. I'm on vacation. I'm on break.
I'm on break, but my workload is not on break. And that is some bullshit.
It's a bad combo.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'll do the intro for realsies for the folks that like to follow along. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Oh, yeah.
I am still Kenyan.
I'm still Lucy.
I'm Amanda, and I'm working on a hack, so don't mind me.
To not be Amanda?
She keeps saying that, and I don't know what it means.
All will be revealed.
Okay, well, in the meantime, while Amanda plots.
I don't trust you. Look at that face.
Hurry! The hack is almost ready.
We have a very special fan pick this week, brought to you by our fan picker, Gemma Maslin. You're a Maslin, Gemma. And Gemma has selected the topic of Kiwi Crimes. So not the fruit or the bird, but
the place,
the people related to the place of New Zealand.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
All right. So
but yeah,
kia
New Zealand.
ora, Gemma.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the hack? What the fuck are we supposed? Am I keep going?
No. Yeah, you can introduce me, but there's also a note in the.
Should I say it?
Yeah.
And they are Australian journalists. Australian?
Yeah. I think they're originally Australian, but they like cover
Live in New
cases
Zealand?
and or live in New Zealand. Yeah. Which
Okay.
I guess is common.
Can you believe that
I
people
know.
can be born in one place and live in another place?
Yeah.
The audacity.
Like,
How dare they?
I'm not super far removed other place.
Yeah.
They should build that oceanic wall.
Yeah.
So shout
Yeah.
out the podcast Kiwi Crimes, and they cover unsolved cases. So that's really great.
Yeah. And also terrible for my mental health because I need everything wrapped up in a neat little bow, like this hack. So, I'm lost. You have to ask me what the wine crime pairing is, or I won't know what I'm doing.
We are crushing it.
Okay, our wine crime pairing, we obviously have to drink a nice New Zealand Sauv Blanc.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
the best. Just
Yep.
mother's
fave.
milk.
Mother's milk. I had one on hand. It's called Imaginary Friend. I will show you the bottle shortly. but I can't quite yet because of the hack I'm working on, and it's almost ready. But
Are you coding? What the fuck? Is this a Dungeons and Dragons thing? What the fuck are you doing over there?
you're gonna feel so foolish when I finally reveal what I'm
Will
doing.
it be
over
worth
here.
it?
That remains to be seen. So while I'm continuing with this hack, I will let you know a couple of fun facts about New Zealand Sauv Blanc. So it's almost certainly named after the French word for wild, which is sauvage. Oh!
What the fuck was that?
It hacked!
Oh no!
Okay, well, I wish that had happened on camera, but
Okay,
somebody
watch your
tagged me.
eyes. Something's
Somebody
gonna happen.
tagged me in a TikTok where someone opened a bottle of wine with a hair straightener. So I have been working on this bottle of wine with my hair straightener for 20 minutes. And it just exploded.
Oh my
It
god!
exploded the cork, but it didn't actually open the
It
bottle.
exploded the top of the cork. And then did it hit the ceiling?
Do you need some spackle?
Nah, it's fine.
Do you need protective goggles?
Well, now you're fucked because there's half a cork in the neck of that bottle.
I'm not fucked because I have my wine key here, which I brought as backup because I had a feeling this would not work the way I hoped it would. So I came prepared. Anyway, Sauvignon Blanc originated in Bordeaux. This is what I get when people tag me in TikTok and I want to try something cool on a video episode.
Watch
and
your
it just
face.
fails.
I'm very
It's not-
concerned.
It's not going to go anywhere now.
It might. You don't
also
know
like-
physics.
Well, yeah,
you?
you're right. I don't know physics.
I'm doing this. I'm holding my hand up and staying away.
Yeah,
even though
or before
You're
we
700
recorded, she's
miles
like,
away.
I'm scared. And I was like, you're hundreds of miles away from me. What can you possibly
can
be
never
scared
be
of?
too careful when you're already blind in one eye.
Anyway, Sauvignon Blanc originated in Bordeaux and initially gained recognition as an integral part of the world-famous Bordeaux wines. Sauv then traveled from its home of France to New Zealand, where in 1969, Kiwi winemaker Ross Spence planted the first vines in Waimaku, West Auckland. Marlborough Cottondon it says Cottondon, but I think maybe it meant cotton. I didn't write that. I copied and pasted this, so.
They really cottoned on.
Yeah, in 1973, and New Zealand
Cotton
quickly
up.
rose to worldwide wine glory with its punchy, zesty, never before seen Sauvignon Blanc style.
Wow.
And
Well,
if you don't
we are-
have a wine key, you can open it with
a hair straightener.
a hair straightener.
that is the messiest,
If you're
fucking
really careful.
worst pop I've ever seen in my life.
This might be the worst.
The cork is just crumbling.
John, when you edit this video, I'm going to need that pop in slow-mo. Holy shit.
She's still going. She's still working.
Try the straightener again.
No, I turned it off. Here we go.
If only it was a Dyson.
Nice pop.
It didn't even pop at
Well,
all.
it popped earlier.
You just lifted it out. Oh,
Cheers.
All right, folks. Well, that was the episode. Special thanks.
oh no. Well, I have an absolute grapefruit Paloma.
Nice.
Haven't tasted it yet.
I wish that I was drinking a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc because it is one of the world's best treasures.
Ooh, this
It's
is
really
good.
good when it's poured out through a hot neck.
I was gonna say, didn't it heat it all up?
Oh, that is so gross.
This hack might not be worth it.
I'm done with TikTok. Don't tag me in anything on TikTok ever again.
Yeah, because she'll do it, but she'll hate it.
I hate that. Was terrible. And my arm hurts from squeezing my everything about that sucked. Anyway, next.
All right. Well, moving
Passes
on.
through a hot neck.
I'm trying.
As it turns out, that hack was 100% worth it.
Tried to do something fun.
I'm fucking
Straighten your baby hairs.
I'm literally crying.
Trying to have a fun surprise for your friends and your Patreon subscribers, and
Oh, God.
all I got was a broken cork and some hot wine.
All right.
I'm deeply entertained. If you're not donating at the appropriate tier on Patreon, you gotta get it.
Oh,
Does
You
this
gotta
look
get it.
good?
oh my God, you look like me in 7th grade.
The straight string bangs.
Super, super straight fried bangs on the side.
Thin.
Really, really fried. Oh my God. Okay.
There's my lock.
This side. I'm sorry. This is terrible audio. I'm
This
sure.
is horrible. Oh my
Okay,
God.
But it's funny video. Okay. Lucy, oh my God. What is our background and probably not psych for Kiwi Crimes? Oh, I gotta get my shit together.
While I tend my burns with a salve.
On top of everything else, you burned yourself.
Crispy mold Sauv Blanc.
It's fucking refreshing.
With maybe some chunks of cork in it.
I am a professional. If I break a cork, I am not going to get it into the bottle.
Hints of burnt wood and
Nothing.
hair.
Nothing in there. Nothing.
Oh God. Okay,
Oh,
here we go.
Okay. Woo, woo.
Wow, that was a ride. All right.
Told
New
you it'd be
Zealand
worth it.
is an island country in the South Pacific Ocean, the southwesternmost part of Polynesia. Its nearest neighbor is Australia, which is
Mate.
more than 1,000 miles northwest of New Zealand. It's really
Wow.
just on its own out
It's
there.
kind of chilling, just dangling on the edge of the world.
Yeah.
Just like us.
Yeah.
Dangling
Mentally.
on the edge.
Mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. The country comprises of two. The country is comprised of two main islands, 100 small islands. I didn't realize there were that many little islands.
I didn't either attach or like around New Zealand.
Mm-hmm. And some of these islands are hundreds of miles from the main group. The capital city is Wellington, and the largest urban area is Auckland. Both are located on the North Island. New Zealand administers the South Pacific island group of Tokelau and claims a section of the Antarctic continent. Also didn't know that.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Also, I'm going to say this at the top. At least for my segment, and Amanda's already attempted, there are a lot of like Maori words,
Maori.
words,
Yep.
such
We're going
as
to do
that.
our best. We're going to
doing
do our
our-
best.
We're going to do our
Doing our
best.
best.
I know like 5 of them. So if any of those come up, I'll be real obnoxious about it.
I'm going to teach you
can't
one
wait.
at the end of my segment.
I spent a month in New Zealand my senior year of college, which was incredible and amazing. And it's such a beautiful place. And then I was like on a high from doing that. And so I wrote my undergrad senior thesis about Indigenous languages and Indigenous public television channels and whether or not they promote Indigenous languages. And one of those languages that I studied
know
was
that.
Yeah.
No idea.
I know. It was really random. It was really out of nowhere. I had studied like the EU all of college. And then I got to senior year and I was
You were
like,
over
I
it.
can't. I need something totally different that I have no business studying. And so that is what I chose for my thesis.
I do remember at one point you were pondering a Maori tattoo, and you're like, I think it would be a lot to get it on my chin. It's like,
Well,
get
that
it on
was-
your fucking face.
I wasn't ever going to get it on my face. First of all, that would be very
Inappropriate.
appropriative. Yeah. No, but that's where Maori women traditionally got tattooed, not fucking white ladies who spend 1 month in New Zealand. It's just a very cool place, and the Te Reo Maori is very interesting and cool. And like I said, I know approximately 5 words, so I will do my best.
Well, I want to go because it sounds real pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Okay, so New Zealand administers the South Pacific island group of Tokelau and claims a section of the Antarctic continent. Already said that. New and the Cook Islands are self-governing states in free association with New Zealand. So they've got a lot going on in terms of like control, like governance.
Okay.
It's more complicated than, say, in the United States. They've got, and all like 700 little islands. Like, ugh, there's just a lot going on.
Okay.
I didn't know
She
that.
gags.
No, it's just,
I mean, I didn't know that either.
yeah. So like Kenyon just said, New Zealand is fucking gorgeous. It has active volcanoes, spectacular caves, deep glacier lakes, verdant valleys, dazzling fjords, long sandy beaches, and spectacular snow-capped peaks.
Wow.
Fucking incredible.
They filmed Lord of the Rings there.
They did.
And the director, what's his name, is from New Zealand.
Peter Jackson, I think.
I think so.
You nailed it.
So because these islands are so fucking remote, they were actually the last large habitable landmass to be settled by humans anywhere on the globe.
Wow. Cool.
So here's a quote from my lover, Encyclopedia Britannica. No precise archaeological records exist of when and from where the first human inhabitants of New Zealand came, but it is generally agreed that Polynesians from eastern Polynesia in the Central Pacific reached New Zealand in the early 13th century. Not that fucking long ago.
No.
Right.
There has been much speculation on how these people made the long ocean voyage. I believe it was the sailing crimes episode
Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about that.
where I
Like the
talked a lot
canoes.
about the canoes and like how they were able to go that fucking far.
Right, with like a cow on their canoe. Multiple.
With everything they would need to
Yeah.
start a new civilization.
Yeah,
which
it's nuts.
they did
And then they
with New Zealand.
tracked and can trace back their family lineage to which fucking canoe they came over on.
Yeah.
Not everyone can, obviously, but some people fucking can, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so like we were just talking about the traditional tattoos, which we'll get back to, but the tattoos are completely unique to the individual getting the tattoo. So a lot of the design has to do with the storytelling of like who their people are, where they came from, potentially what their original group was.
They're fucka papa. That's one of my words. Check.
Fucka Papa.
Fucka papa.
Okay.
It means like your family group, I think. And so it comes from like which canoe or boat you were brought over on. And some people who are like very well trained and well versed in the tattooing arts can like almost read somebody's tattoo designs and like know what that tattoo is trying to convey.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Also, I learned that PA, P-A, is a word for their family home, abode.
Abode. I was like, adobe.
Abode. They were like kind of half underground, cool little, they were like huts kind of, but those are called PA. And so, yeah, a lot of native New Zealanders will know where their family's PA is located.
Very cool.
Yeah, the Maori people are really, so I learned a lot of cool stuff.
They're fucking amazing.
There has been much speculation on how these people made the long ocean voyage. People from Polynesia are known to have sometimes set sail in search of new lands, their canoes well provisioned with food and plants for cultivation, and it is likely that the discoverers of New Zealand were on such a voyage. It is probable that few canoes actually made the dangerous journey, but the people from even one of these large double-hulled craft could have produced the Maori population that the Europeans encountered in New Zealand in the 17th and 18th centuries. So with them, they brought the dog and the rat and several plants, including the kumara, which is a variety of sweet potato, taro, and yam.
Yum.
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 For the next several hundred years, the Maori developed their unique culture, notable in the arts of war, canoe construction, because they're obviously fucking experts at it. Building, weaving, and agriculture. So they thrived.
Yeah. They did it all.
And because they kind of got going within the past 700 years, the Maori culture is actually one of the youngest cultures on the planet.
Cool.
I mean, there's a lot. It's like, when does like a culture really start? You know, like how far back do you want to trace it? Because like there's a ton of overlap with Hawaiian,
Polynesian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
I think there's some level of differentiation, of distinction between the cultures that they sort of stemmed from and the ones that they developed. But I'm also not an anthropologist. The first European to arrive in New Zealand was a Dutch sailor named Abel Janszoon Tasman, who sighted the coast of Westland, which is northwestern South Island, in December 1642. So New Zealand, remember when we were doing Nordic crimes or Scandinavian scandals, whatever the fuck we did recently? Zealand is a place in Scandinavia. And so this guy was a Dutch sailor, so that's why New Zealand is called New Zealand.
Got it.
Something like that. His sole attempt to land brought only a clash with a South Island tribe, during which several of his men were killed. After he got back, this coast was added to European sailing charts and was thought to be the possible western edge of a great southern continent. In 1769, James Cook, ever heard of him? He was the same
James Cook?
He was the same guy who first wanted to colonize Botany Bay, which is now Sydney, Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, we talked about that guy. So he circumnavigated the two major islands and mapped them out for the British. So colonizer, yes, led to mass bloodshed, all that bad stuff. However, to his credit, he and naturalist Joseph Banks published a journal called A Voyage Towards the South Pole and Round the World in 1777, which stressed the intelligence and like capabilities and establishments of the native people, and probably had a hand in later colonizing efforts to be somewhat less clashy. So,
somewhat. Everything's relative, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like they were going there, you know, these new British and Dutch, like when the whole gang came, they weren't necessarily under the impression that these people were like quote unquote savages, or like, you know, they at least had sort of a heads up that they were. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, yes, colonization is not good or pretty business, so we don't need to
and there's a lot of bad shit went after it.
Yeah, it's
well,
like
of
great.
course.
We got
At
some
one
good
point,
records.
I'm not saying this was all
but
puppies and roses by any means. But he was one of the first people on the mainland to make contact with these tribes, and he went back to the UK or to Denmark or wherever he came from and published this journal saying like, it's not like that. So
this white guy was impressed by the Maoris and then still invaded. Yeah.
Yeah. Colonization is not. Yeah, they are. Okay, so why are people from New Zealand called Kiwis? I always thought it was because kiwis, the fruit, came from New Zealand.
Nope.
So they are grown in New Zealand. They're a major export of New Zealand. However, kiwis are native to mainland China and Taiwan. And also, the fruit is not the reason we call New Zealanders Kiwis. They are actually called that after the kiwi bird, which is any of 5 species of flightless birds belonging to the genus Apteryx and found in New Zealand. So
puppies.
The name kiwi, I have photos on the drive of kiwis.
They're
so cute.
They're really cute. They look like guinea pigs.
Yeah, with wings.
Barely.
Little angels.
Yeah,
Their wings are like that long.
I know.
Like they're evolutionarily like stunted.
They're
so
perfect.
Cute. And aren't they like really shy and also nocturnal? So like there are all these like zoos with like protected kiwis, whatever, and you like maybe get a glimpse of one every once in a while.
I'm about to tell you all about kiwis.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's funny.
So the name kiwi is a Maori word referring to the shrill call of the male. So it probably sounds like kiwi. That's my impression.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Kiwis are grayish-brown birds, like the size of a chicken. Kiwis are also really fucking weird looking for birds. So their vestigial wings, meaning they're like sad, crumpled, don't even work wings, are hidden within their plumage. Their nostrils are at the tip rather than the base of their long, flexible bill.
Well, all the better to sniff with.
Right. So
I
you can get
guess.
down in those holes and find where all the good bugs are.
Yeah. Their
I
feathers,
assume.
the feathers, which have no after shaft, I don't know what that means, are soft and hair-like. Their legs are stout and muscular, and each of the 4 toes has a large claw.
I'm
that's
looking
how
up
they
after
defend
shaft. I have a
themselves.
theory that it's like, you know how usually on a bird's feather, the shaft that's like in the bird that you pluck out spans the length of the feather to like hold the fluff. I wonder if that long part of it is gone. I'm Googling it.
Well,
no
there's
idea.
pictures of kiwis on the drive, and you can see that they have like longish
It
kind
almost
of
looks like
feathers.
fur.
Yeah,
Their feathers
The
look
aft-
kind of like fur.
that they're soft and
After
hair-like.
shaft or after feather that arises at the base of the vein. The after shaft has the appearance of a second, smaller feather growing from the base of the first. Down feathers have loose webbed barbs, all rising from the tip of a very short shaft. So it's like that down. They don't have the long piece.
Oh, it's just the downy
base,
part.
It's just the base part.
Yep, the base holds what grows out like the downy mixed feather. It doesn't have the long like backbone. I was
like-
right.
So
They
like
don't-
other birds, it's like they only have like an undercoat, like
Yeah,
for dogs.
'cause they
like,
don't
And
fly.
they don't fly, so they
Yeah.
don't need the long feathers.
Cool.
This was my favorite part. Their eyes are small and inefficient in full daylight.
Same.
Their ear openings are large and well developed, and very long bristles, perhaps tactile, occur at the base of the bill.
Wow.
Ooh, kind of like
they like
whiskers.
moving whiskers.
Yeah. Weird.
They sleep in their burrows in the forest during the day, and they forage for berries, worms, insect, and larvae at night.
Cute.
Adorable.
I think they're just so cute.
I'm
I wanna
They are
adding some
so
more
cute.
pictures of kiwis to your photos. 'Cause
Please do.
They're just really
You can
cute.
never have enough.
I know. One of them is a diagram of a kiwi bird, but it's like cut.
like a
open.
kiwi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that was
cute.
cute. Okay, so here are some notable kiwis. The first one is my favorite because I like history. So Sir Edmund Hillary, along with Sherpa Tenzing Norgay, climbed Mount Everest in 1953, and this was one of the defining moments of the 20th century. So Hillary said later, in some ways, this is so cute and like humble. In some ways, I believe that I epitomize the average New Zealander. I have modest abilities. I combine these with a good deal of determination, and I rather like to succeed.
Cute.
It's cute. There's also a picture of those two on the drive, which will be on the blog. They just like they have a really good little bromance going.
Tenzin is so cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
He's
I looked at a lot of pictures of those two. That was my favorite, but he's adorable in every photo.
he's really handsome.
Lord, the singer, is from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Russell
I think
Crowe.
a little overrated.
Eh.
Russell Crowe, super overrated.
Definitely.
Lord, not my fave.
Yeah, I think she's really big in New Zealand. Keith Urban? I didn't know he was from fucking New Zealand.
What?
That there's no way.
That can't
Yeah.
be right. Did you triple check that?
He's American.
Keith.
His music lied to me.
Is he the
He's
one
an
married
American.
to what's her name?
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. Okay, well then that
Oh, it
kinda
says
makes-
he's an Australian American.
Yeah, that sounds more right.
No.
None of it sounds right. Did he just get Australian dual citizenship?
He was
through-
born in Whangarei, New Zealand on October 26, 1967.
Okay.
Wow.
He later moved to Queensland, Australia.
Okay, so he's born in New Zealand but mostly grew up in Australia.
None
How
of it's
dare
right.
he move?
I know. He's a red-blooded American.
Another shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Xena warrior princess Lucy Lawless is from New
Fuck
Zealand.
yeah.
That I knew. Keep thinking these are cookie crumbs. It's just cork.
I think I realized my sexuality with Xena warrior princess.
Oh yeah. It's a lot more fluid than we realized.
Mm-hmm.
She's buff.
Yep.
She's Lucy Flowerless.
She's Lucy Flowerless.
And Gabrielle, her little...
and when they had definite chemistry
Yeah.
and almost hooked up in like 8 different
It was
seasons.
like
Hot.
jumping off the
Like,
screen.
Everyone wants to talk about Ross and Rachel or Sam and Diane.
No.
Diane, will they, won't theys?
No.
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 Xena and what's her
Xena,
name?
and I think it's Gabrielle.
Yeah, it was Xena and Gabrielle.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
They're hot. Can we get some fanfic erotica?
Yeah.
I'm sure it exists.
Oh, I'm sure it's out there. We should
Just
have a
Google
party.
it.
Have you seen all those parties where it's like dress as your sexual awakening?
No.
You haven't seen that? It's like a trend now where everybody
That
just comes
sounds
dressed
fun.
as in costume as their whatever their earliest sexual awakening crush was.
Incredible.
I think
Love
we
that.
should do it.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
That could be our PowerPoint night.
Mine might
Yeah.
be Devon Sawa, though.
That's fine.
That's a good
come
one.
Dress as Devon Sawa.
Yeah.
I think he follows me on Twitter. I definitely follow him.
Mine
Okay.
would probably be Benny the Jet Rodriguez
Ooh, that's a good one.
from Sandlot.
That's a good one.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I'll check to see if Devon Sawa's following me later. Okay, and my favorite. Also, I will say there were a lot of like quote unquote famous New Zealanders who I was not familiar with, so I left them off the list.
Yeah, fuck
Sorry.
'em.
If I don't know them, are they even really famous?
Hey, they're famous on that end of the world. You're lucky I included Lord. Okay.
Wow.
Jacinda, or is it Jacinda?
I think it's Jacinda.
Jacinda Ardern, who's the current Prime Minister of New Zealand. I know you've heard of her.
She's the badass.
She's a fucking badass. She gained national and international attention, winning the New Zealand 2017 general election to become the world's youngest female head of government at 37 years old.
She is 3 years. Well, she was 3 years older than us.
Yeah. So
I have to go.
She's 8 years old. She's 7 years older than us.
That's
Yeah,
She's
no.
a badass, and it
she's
gets better.
Running a country.
Her unexpected popularity during this time was dubbed Jacinda Mania, with Vogue magazine naming her the anti-Trump of our times.
Love
so
that.
you've got my fucking vote. She also like killed it with the COVID restrictions.
Yep.
They're like, they don't have COVID anymore.
Yep. They
Yeah.
basically like didn't have it.
Right.
It's amazing.
The announcement of her pregnancy a few months after her election garnered even more attention, and the birth of her daughter meant that the prime minister was only the second head of government to give birth while in office.
Wow. Like ever, anywhere?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, there have only been women in office for so long. So,
Right.
Okay, so I want to
Cool.
finish out my segment with some interesting facts that you may not know about the Maori culture. And these are from nzpocketguide.com.
Cool.
A fave.
A fave.
I'll go to.
A bookmark.
Always
a
consult the
bookmark.
NZ Pocket Guide before any other source.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so tamoko is the traditional art of tattooing in the Maori culture. They are unique on each individual because they show that person's genealogy, knowledge, and social status with their tribe, also called their iwi. Iwi?
Yep.
Moko was originally done with pigment on the end of a sharp bone hit into the skin. However, nowadays, most Maori people opt for more modern methods of tattooing. And like Kenyon said, is it just the women who traditionally get it on their chins?
Well, men get their whole face, and then they can also get, I mean, basically most of their bodies, like thighs are really common, and just, yeah, depending on your age and your kind of status in the community, and nowadays, like whether or not you want to tattoo yourself, you know, it depends. But like traditionally, like older Maori men in the community would be tattooed like most of their bodies, and then women, it would be chin and I think feet.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
But the very visible tattooing is very much a cultural thing.
Yeah.
So if you go to New Zealand on vacation and you're tempted to get a tattoo, maybe don't.
Do you that was why I was there for a month, was a documentary about white people like tourists, European and American tourists going to New Zealand and getting traditional Maori tattoos and like whether or not that is okay ever, or if it's always problematic, and like what does it mean for both sides in that exchange and whatever. So it's definitely a complicated topic, but it's a fascinating tradition.
Maybe do your research, ask around, ask all
Don't
kinds
just
of
like
people.
travel to New Zealand and like
To get tattooed.
find a tattoo artist and be like,
Well, and,
I
like,
want this.
Also,
Because it would be like,
yeah.
well, I'm trying to think of like an example of what, like an analogy for that, because it's each design is so specific to that person, or it should be.
Yeah. It's not just a tattoo. Like, if
Right.
you want to go get a tattoo, we're talking about like these specific types of tattoos.
Yeah.
And,
It's
you
a
know,
very
Maori
traditional
people,
and
just
sacred
like
tradition.
every culture, every people, not a monolith. So what one person may feel about, like what one Maori person may feel about white people getting those tattoos could be totally different from what another Maori person feels about it.
Yeah, there are some Maori tattoo artists who will tattoo white people, and it's no problem. There are also like, so the word for white New Zealanders is Pākehā, and there are some Pākehā who are, very tuned in to the Maori, history of Maori people in New Zealand, and they're more plugged into like all of that. And so some, clued in Pākehā will get tamoko and it's fine. And then there are other people who are really stupid and get it like it's just a tribal tattoo.
I think my point is the importance of these kinds of tattoos is very, very deep and complex. And if you
Right.
don't understand it and you don't appreciate it, then don't go there.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Yep.
Okay. Before the European settlers arrived in New Zealand, there was no written language for Maori, otherwise known as Te Reo Maori.
Cool.
Instead, history was also taught orally through stories or depicted in carvings. And that is why Maori people are among some of the most incredible storytellers that you'll ever meet.
Neat.
I think that's cool.
That's really cool.
So let's talk briefly about the haka. We all know what that is. This compelling chant seen at the beginning of the New Zealand rugby games is often believed to be a war dance. While it was sometimes used for that purpose, there are actually many types of haka used for different occasions, from funerals to motivation for the tribe. I've seen it done at, on the internet at like weddings. That guy on 90 Day Fiancé did it at the airport when he was reunited with his fiancé.
Yep.
All sorts of
Just at
different.
any significant moments in
That
life.
guy on
It's an
90 Day
expensive-
Fiancé.
As far as I know, it's an expression of like passion,
Yeah.
and you can
It's
have
an
passion in a lot of
expression
different.
Of frustration over where your bags are on the carousel in that one episode of 90 Day
Oh,
Fiancé.
she
Hey,
was
if you can do it at the beginning of
embarrassed.
every sport match, you
Yeah.
can do it in other contexts than war.
Of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the Maori traditionally greet each other with a hongi. I think that's how you say it. This is when two people press their foreheads and their noses briefly together, closing their eyes and breathing deeply.
Oh,
So that's like how they hug each other.
it's like intimate connection.
Well,
That's cool.
It represents sharing the breath of life where two souls meet.
I like
It's so
that.
cool.
I just think it's really nice. So
It's way
the Maori
nicer than
culture,
what's it called? Shaking hands.
yeah. Maori culture is super fascinating. New Zealand is absolutely on my bucket list. And I'll end with teaching you how to say goodbye, which is harera,
Oh.
harera,
Harera.
harera.
Nice.
Nice. Well done.
Anyway,
Cool.
bye.
Harera.
Harera, bye.
Anyway, bye.
Vaya donkey.
Ooh, bye, donkey.
Oh my God. Well done. Now I want to be in New Zealand.
Yep.
Let's take a break and hear a quick word from our sponsors.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
Kiwi fruit.
Harera.
Harera.
You might have heard about Rothy's best-selling Point shoe. It's amazing. In fact, People magazine named the Point the best flat for their first ever style awards in 2021. Not to brag, but hashtag bragging.
Well deserved.
But did you know that Rothy's also make insanely comfortable sneakers, loafers, ankle boots, Mary Janes, and more?
Ooh.
I do know that, and I'm going to talk about a shoe I got myself for the holidays. I also got my sister a really cute pair, but I know she listens, so she knows she's getting a pair of Rothy's, but she doesn't know what pair. So I'm not going to say it, Ashley. You're not going to know until Christmas Day. But I got myself the Mary Jane.
They're so cute.
They are adorable. I immediately texted our group chat about how much I love them, and then it immediately started snowing like crazy, so I'm only wearing them around my house. But what I can wear in the snow is my Chelsea boot that I also have from Rothy's. I've got it all. I also have a Rothy's bag. I have Rothy's masks. I have Rothy's everything. I'm head to toe gilded in Rothy's. And they are the perfect gift for the people in your life that you do not know what to get. Take the guesswork out of gifting this holiday season. Rothy's has something for everyone. So treat yourself, like I did, and or find the perfect gift for a loved one with their ultra comfortable, washable, throw them in the laundry, people, shoes, bags, and accessories. They are durable, they're classic, they're sustainably crafted. This is a gift that they will love year-round and for years to come.
Absolutely.
So win the gift game this season with Rothy's shoes and accessories. Get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/gals with extended returns and exchanges through the holidays. That's rothys.com/GALS and treat your feet.
Treat 'em. This holiday season, I really want to give a gift to my loved ones that makes them feel special and unique, just like the relationship that we share. And that is why I'm giving everyone I care about Storyworth.
Storyworth is an online service that helps you and your loved ones preserve precious memories and stories for years to come. It's a thoughtful and meaningful gift that connects you to those who matter most and those who you might not chat with all that often. So each week, Storyworth emails your relatives or friend a thought-provoking question of your choice from their vast pool of possible options. Each unique prompt asks questions that you've never thought to ask, like, what's the bravest thing you've ever done in your life? Or if you could see into the future, what would you want to find out? After 1 year, Storyworth will compile all of your loved ones' stories, including photos, love that, into a beautiful keepsake book that you'll be able to share and revisit for generations to come. So I've shared in the past that I gave this gift to my grandmother a couple years ago, and the stories that this service pulled out of that woman are absolutely incredible. Because my family, especially older generations, they're very reserved. Like, they don't really share a whole lot about, like, their personal feelings or their memories or their stories. They're just a little bit buttoned up. But my grandma, like, basically raised her 15 siblings in the Dust Bowl during the Great Depression on a farm.
Yeah. Amazing.
Like, she's got stories. And this really just pulled them out of her. And I learned so many fascinating things. I'm so excited that she loved this book when she received it. We love to just pull it out every time we're all together and just revisit it. It's just really, really cool. So reading the weekly stories helps connect you with loved ones no matter how near or how far apart you are.
And with Storyworth, we are giving those that we love most a thoughtful, personal gift from the heart and preserving their memories and stories for years to come. So go to storyworth.com/gals, GALS, and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/gals to save $10 on your first purchase, and treat your loved ones.
Treat them.
I'm not even going to ask if you're ready for my case because
Or just not.
Neither of you are.
Great.
No one is.
Okay.
It's the worst.
Is this a fan pick?
It's a fan pick.
Classic.
I'd also never heard of it, and oh my God, the rage. Just tee up more alcohol right now. You're gonna need it.
Do I have to go get more?
Yeah, you should. You
Should
should.
I?
Yeah, you should.
All right. Well, fast forward this. I'm going to get a drink. New Zealand Sauv Blanc.
Nice.
Cute.
Good job. Okay, well, blame the fan picker, Gemma, because this is horrific.
Fucking
Great.
Gemma.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Gemma.
Oh.
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 Real
right.
piece of shit.
No. You're very generous, Gemma. Generous.
All right. In the summer of 1993, 26-year-old. Okay, Amanda cannot handle it.
Oh my God.
Are you okay?
A sneeze just got caught in my throat,
Oh.
which was my instant karma for my tasteless joke.
Okay, so in the summer of 1993, 26-year-old New Zealander Louise Nicholas made a life-changing decision. She decided to come forward after more than a decade and report her rape at the hands of multiple police officers when she was a teenager. There's some conflicting information online about how old she was when it took place, but most reports cite that she was 13 years old at the time and that it was a very brutal gang rape at the hands of multiple police officers. And I don't have all the details of like what transpired, but
I don't think we need them.
we don't. But apparently her parents worked in like search and rescue or like volunteered in search and rescue. I'm not really sure. And so they had a lot of like police officer friends.
Okay.
And I think that's why as a 13-year-old, she was like even around
Got it.
some of these officers. But I don't have that much more information besides that, because what we're really going to focus on is how the justice system failed her. So for years, Louise had kept the secret of her very traumatic ordeal closely guarded. But now, after becoming an adult and recently getting married and starting a family, she felt like safe enough in her life and like stable enough in her with her support system that she decided she could not live the rest of her life without attempting to bring her assailants to justice. So she reached out for help, and she met with a detective named John Dewar, who was in charge of New Zealand's criminal investigation branch. So like they're, you know, like you've heard of like the Georgia Bureau of da-da-da,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
This is like the New Zealand, whatever.
BI.
Yeah.
New Zealand
The
BI.
NZBI.
Yeah. The CIB, but it's basically that. In the city of Rotorua, which smells like rotten eggs because of all the sulfur from the hot
Oh, for
springs.
the hot springs?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I mean, it's
if I
great.
know there's good hot springs, it's worth it.
It's worth it. It really is. And you get used to the rotten egg
Yeah.
smell very quickly,
You
actually.
get nose blind.
Yeah.
So she meets with this detective. He's very high up, right? He's in charge of whatever this acronym.
How did she get in touch with somebody that high up? Just because she was like around the
I don't
familial
know.
connection?
I
or
don't know.
whatever?
I don't think she used the familial connection. Now she's like 26, I think, when she first reported. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But maybe because she was accusing police officers, it got flagged up the chain.
Yeah, maybe their justice system just works better than ours.
No. Turns out, no.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
At least not then. Maybe it's better now. And she reported the details of this very vicious and horrific attack. So Louise's disclosure resulted in the arrest of one unnamed police officer for this rape. And as far as I can tell, like, I could not find the name of this first guy that was accused. And
So it like never came out.
as far as I could find,
Yeah.
there's so much on the internet about Louise because
Right.
she has become such a public figure that, like, I'm sure if I had done more digging, I maybe could have found it, but I didn't find this first guy's name. But we will get to more.
Okay.
So in court against this guy, she took to the stand to describe the ordeal that she had suffered before being mercilessly hounded by this guy's defense attorney, who relentlessly tried to get her to admit that she had, quote, enjoyed being raped.
Oh, no.
What the fuck?
She was 13.
And she was in court.
Well, she was an adult now in court, but no one can enjoy. It's just everything about that sentence.
That is so fucking gross. I can't take it.
Yeah, this 13-year-old enjoyed being gang raped by a bunch of adult police officers.
Ugh. In no world. No.
So Louise remembers that, quote, I absolutely felt like I was the one on trial. It was brutal. It was embarrassing. It was an emotional roller coaster, and my family suffered because of it. I didn't like seeing my mom cry. I didn't like seeing the anger on my husband's face. I was trying to support them at the expense of my own well-being. So she didn't feel like she could fully even testify about her experience because she didn't want her loved ones to have
residual trauma.
Secondary trauma from hearing about what she went through. Ultimately, a mistrial was declared after Detective Dewar, the one who was supposed to be helping her, was found to have given inadmissible hearsay evidence at trial. And so a mistrial was declared because the detective fucked up.
Yeah.
Who was trying to help her.
Who was supposed to be helping her. When
they protect their own, so who the fuck do you trust when it's the police that are harming you? Where do you go?
When a second trial was convened, new details about the case emerged. When Louise had originally met with Detective Dewar, she had actually accused 3 additional officers of raping her in this brutal assault because, again, it was a gang rape. But at the first trial, it was only against 1 accused. And so these other 3 officers that she had accused weren't on trial. And, whatever, for whatever reason. And this assault also involved their, quote, violating her with a police baton.
Ugh.
So in addition to the unnamed officer whom Detective Dewar arrested, she also named 3 additional assailants. And we do have their names. So Clint Rickards, Bob Sholem, and Brad Shipton. And their photos of these fucking douchebags are on the drive.
Ew.
And
Never trust a Clint.
Yeah. So in the first trial, Louise had not been allowed to mention the involvement of these 3 additional officers in her assault. So then how do you fucking tell what happened?
Right.
Accurately if you're not allowed to mention
the details of what happened.
Right.
Fully.
If you're assaulted by multiple people and you're only allowed to mention 1 assailant, how can you possibly give an accurate description of the events?
Right.
But in the second trial against this first unnamed guy, her statements describing the other 3 officers were declared admissible as evidence. So in the second trial, she is able to mention these other 3 fuckfaces.
So was it just the fact that she couldn't mention their names specifically in the first trial, or she couldn't bring up the fact that there were 4 total assailants?
I don't know.
Hopefully the first and not the latter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the first is like, there's nothing, you can't describe what happened at all.
Right.
I understand if you can't use the names of the other people who haven't gotten to trial yet.
Yeah, so they could be tried separately.
Yeah, if they're being tried separately, that makes sense.
Yeah, being raped by 1 person is different than being raped by 4 people at the same time.
I still don't think that, I think you could keep the names of the unofficially co-accused out of the press and maintain their anonymity that way, but I don't think you should tell the victim what they can and cannot say on the stand. If they know the names of their rapists, they should be able to say those names on the witness stand, because otherwise you're trying to juggle 2 things when when you should just be able to be focusing on answering the questions truthfully. You know what I mean?
But we also know that there are a lot of people who wrongly make it all the way to court with charges. And so I get what you're saying, and I do agree, but I just think it's a lot harder than it's much more nuanced because of the way that the justice system works, or it's supposed to work.
Right.
Where like you also don't want to be using the names, and I mean, there's really if the names are coming out in court, then that's going to be entered into public record.
Right.
So like it's kind of impossible to maintain a suspect's anonymity in the press if they've made it all the way to court.
I just don't think the onus should be on the victim.
No, of course
to maintain their anonymity. I think it should be up to the court, and if you have to come up with, ways to do that, like maybe the press only gets, maybe the press are not allowed to publish the names.
Right,
things
there
like
should
that.
be like law in place that protects the
if
victim.
things can be like stricken from the record. And like juries are expected to ignore that kind of like certain facts in a case, then yeah, I agree with you. The press should be like, hey, do not publish the name.
Right. I just don't think that should be on the victim. I don't think you should be able to tell the victim, like, you can't say this and you can't say that. But tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Except their names. So help you God.
Except their names and the fact that they're police officers. So she's able to mention these other accused, whatever, in this second trial. But then, once again, fucking Detective Dewar gave inadmissible hearsay evidence on the stand.
Jesus
and
Christ.
another mistrial was declared.
Well, he's
a second fucking mistrial. This is so expensive
he knows
and time
what
consuming.
he's doing. He's protecting that thin blue line.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. So in the third trial against this unnamed officer, the other three dick faces, Rickards, Sholem, and Shipton, actually appeared as witnesses, and they all stated that they had, quote, group sex with Louise, and that it had been,
a 13-year-old,
consensual.
So it's still statutory rape. I mean, I guess
we
I don't know
their
the laws in
laws
New Zealand, but
my fucking God.
It must be
That's
statutory
horrific.
rape. I mean, it must.
She's 13.
Yeah.
Well, what happened next?
The unnamed officer was acquitted.
Yeah.
But this was just the beginning of a lengthy and complicated set of even more investigations and more trials. So the year after the acquittal of unnamed Officer 1, Internal Affairs assigned a different detective to look into Detective Dewar's handling or fucking mishandling of this case.
Ah, yes, another cop.
Suspecting that he had failed to properly investigate Louise's claims.
You don't say.
And indeed, it appeared that Dewar had committed a range of violations of procedure, including at one point denying that Louise had ever named these three additional officers in her initial complaint, and calling on the phone two of those officers to discuss the case in between the first and second trials.
Oh
Cool.
my
Give
God.
you a call to give you a heads up.
Yep.
They're kind of saying some stuff like this.
Yep.
Oh.
Careful. Careful out there.
However, the detective investigating Detective Dewar also discovered that at some point between the first and second trial, Louise had signed a statement saying that the sex with the officers had been, quote, consensual. So she signed some document in between all this legal wrangling, some document that Detective Dewar asked her to sign.
So that was snuck in there. She didn't understand, I don't think, what she was signing.
I don't think so
my
either,
God.
but
It's like hiding stuff in a giant bill.
she claimed that she had not written this statement, but had agreed to sign it in order to help Dewar out because he was under pressure at work following the mistrial. So he was like, oh, I'm in a lot of trouble because of this mistrial because I said this hearsay stuff. Can you sign this? Help me out.
But you don't know whether she knew what she was signing?
Well, she didn't agree with what she was signing. She might, I don't think that she knew what she was signing, but I also was not in the room. So I just think that Louise is more credible than fucking Dewar,
Right.
basically. And her story had always been the same except for this one document.
Yeah, that's not making sense.
So the investigating detective concluded that this document destroyed Louise's credibility and any chance of a successful trial against the remaining three officers, and he recommended that any pending charges against them be dropped.
Wow.
Then, in 2005, so her rape, I think, happened in 1983 or 84. I don't know. Then in 2005, Shipton and Sholem were arrested along with three other men and convicted of raping a 20-year-old woman in Mount Maunganui back in 1989.
Jesus.
I mean, at least
They were convicted for that.
they were convicted for that, but that's got to be really tough for someone who sought justice and never got it to see.
It gets worse.
Of course it does.
So this conviction resurfaced the decade-old allegation that Louise Nicholas had made, and in 2006, while serving prison time for this 1989 rape, Shipton and Sholem, along with Clint fucking Rickards, were finally charged with her rape. So finally, these 3 others are being charged. The first guy was acquitted, so he can't be charged again. You know, he had 2 mistrials, and then on the 3rd
Right.
trial, he was acquitted, so he's off scot-free. But now, finally, in 2006, she gets
Getting her day.
in court against these other 3. But in accordance with New Zealand law, it was forbidden for the prosecution to mention at trial that 2 of the men were already convicted rapists serving time for a, quote, unrelated crime.
Oh, unrelated. Okay.
I feel like if it's
doesn't
the
make
same
sense.
crime
Then it's not-
and it's the same fucking time period,
It's
Not
super
unrelated.
maybe it's fucking related and relevant.
Jesus.
Like if you're like, this person is a serial bank robber.
Right.
They're on trial for bank robbery. We can't mention that they've ever robbed a bank.
Woof.
I don't fucking get it. So lots of women's rights groups in New Zealand protested this suppression order of the fact that these are convicted rapists on trial for another rape. And they distributed flyers and posted online about these previous charges against Shipton and Sholem. And ultimately, I don't know if that organizing worked or if they were allowed to mention these other convictions at trial. I don't think they were. And all 3 men were fucking acquitted.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Ugh.
So then, the following year, in 2007, Shipton, Sholem, and Rickards were charged with another crime from 1984.
They just work as a trio, don't they?
Kidnapping a 16-year-old girl in Rotorua and, quote, indecently assaulting her with a whiskey bottle.
Oh
Yep.
my fucking God.
But none of this is a pattern, so
Yeah,
we should
but
just
it's probably not
related.
relevant.
Yeah.
Well, they've already been acquitted for Louise's case, so they can't.
Yeah.
It's done. In this case, against for the case against the 16-year-old girl, all 3 men were acquitted.
What the fuck is wrong? What?
After this trial, suppression orders were lifted, and the previous crimes of the 3 men were widely covered in the media. So they're not going to prison
But
for
they're
these
being
crimes,
eaten alive by the
Yeah.
public.
right? Including by fucking us. Fuck all of you.
I don't care if they were eaten alive by the public.
I don't care either. I'm glad. This is the closest thing to justice these people are fucking getting. They should be smeared everywhere.
No, I'm saying it's not enough.
It's not enough.
Right.
Right. In 2007, so at this 3rd fucking accusation, Rickards resigned from his position with the police force. He had been suspended since 2004. I don't know. Probably. I don't know. The following year, he got his fucking law degree, passed the bar or whatever.
What?
And as of 2019, quote, the 58-year-old works as a lawyer specializing in criminal law and treaty-related work
Oh
in
my God.
in Hawke's Bay, where he says he is, quote, living the dream with his wife and family.
Oh my God. Ick. Ugh.
I hope that
serial-
his entire community knows what the fuck
Brutal-
he's done.
Gang rapist of children.
And now he's a lawyer. A criminal lawyer.
Then, in the final trial connected to this case, Detective John Dewar was arrested in 2007 after a new investigation was opened into his initial handling of Louise Nicholas's accusations. And he was convicted on 4 counts of attempting to obstruct or defeat the course of justice. So,
Which I feel like should overturn the previous mistrials or acquittals and allow them to go back and actually properly prosecute for these crimes.
I don't think
like
you can
it-
overturn a mistrial or an acquittal.
yeah, I don't think
The
you
best
can
you could get is a
yeah.
retrial, but that would be number 4. So, like, what are you hoping for?
I think with an acquittal, I feel like is pretty.
I don't know if they have the
Solid.
same double jeopardy laws, but if they do, then you can't.
It's just insane to me that if it's very clearly now come out that someone fucked over the trial that there can
Twice.
be, no follow-up on that sitch for the victim.
It was determined that he had made several attempts to cover up her allegations against his fellow officers, Rickards, Shipton, and Shullum. And the first guy. Dewar claimed in his defense that he, quote, strongly believed Nicholas to be lying and tried to bury her claims in order to protect her from perjury charges.
Oh,
he's
to
just
protect
looking out.
her.
He's looking out.
Got it. Good. What a good guy.
Yeah. So Dewar served 4.5 years in jail for mishandling the case, which couldn't have been fun for a former detective, but fuck him.
Bye.
Bye. So through the course of this lengthy ordeal,
I didn't mean bye. I meant harera. I had to scroll back.
I meant.
We got there.
I'm waiting for the hack.
Listen, that hack was amazing.
It was amazing. I literally cried.
It did kind of catch us all off
Flying
guard.
here.
It cottoned us all off guard.
Okay, so Louise Nicholas became a widely recognized public figure in New Zealand, and many came to consider her the public face of this issue that, really had not gotten enough attention up until then. This was like pre-Me Too movement.
Right.
In 2007, Louise Nicholas was named New Zealander of the Year by the New Zealand Herald for her ongoing resilience over the course of numerous trials. And she eventually began working as a victim's advocate after realizing how intimidating the legal system was and how many people needed help advocating its fucking Byzantine fucking procedures.
Seriously.
She recalls, quote, I was inundated with calls from complete strangers asking for my help. Quote, is it okay to go to the police? How do I do that? What's the process like? Some people told me they wouldn't go to court because they saw all the horrible stuff that I went through. And I'll finish the quote, but just to add in here, she was just called like horrible names in the courtroom by the defense and like vilified in some parts of the press and called like a racist and a liar and hysterical and, crazy.
And being asked for explicit details about her rape and being accused of like enjoying it. Like it was consensual.
Just
In front of her loved ones.
In every worst fear. So finishing the quote, I thought, well, that's wrong. If I don't come forward, this cycle of sexual violence will continue. I wanted to make the process better. In 2009, she was given an official position as a survivor advocate who reports to a government task force on sexual violence. So basically the anti-rape wizard of New Zealand.
Great. Keep that on payroll.
Yep.
Well, in this role, she was given government funding to collect the stories of sexual assault survivors that she worked with and use her research to advise the government on how victims could be better supported by the judicial system, which is an extremely important job. She also became well regarded as like a media commentator on stories related to sexual violence. And so according to one source, quote, when a story about sexual violence breaks, Nicholas is often the first person that journalists call. So she's a talking head. She's a household name.
Yeah.
Nicholas, who, when she first came forward with her allegations at 26, was described by many as shy and soft-spoken. She has since developed a reputation for being outspoken and refusing to couch her commentary in diplomatic or euphemistic language. So she wasn't like, I don't know, they weren't like
She's
sexual
not-
advance. It wasn't unwanted
Right.
sexual advances. It was a fucking rape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If she disagrees with a verdict in a case, she's been known to make statements to the media like, quote, this judge is living on planet dumb arse.
Amazing.
I like that.
In the words of one person who has worked with her, quote, there are people who would very much like her to stop speaking to the media and stop challenging the system. At times, she has embarrassed various ministries and officials, but Louise is an independent advocate. It's her right to say whatever she needs to say.
Yep.
But unfortunately, in 2020, the worst fucking year ever, Louise learned that she would be losing her government post as the national advocate for survivors of sexual violence. And I think it was literally just like fucking budget cuts.
Yeah.
Oh,
She recalls her shock at learning via a Zoom meeting with the Ministry of Social Development that her job would no longer exist.
Oof.
If you're going to fire someone, don't do it over Zoom.
Well, I
it's
mean,
2020.
Yeah, it was the beginning of COVID. There's
All right, I'll rephrase. Don't do it over a Zoom meeting with several other people.
Don't fire this person when this is such difficult work and she's so positioned to do it well and actually help people, and it's such a fucking important topic, and maybe we should cut other fucking spending.
like the wizard.
The wizard
the
kept-
Christchurch
the-
misogynist wizard.
He kept his job longer than this advocate for women's rights.
And so did the cops who raped her in the first place. And the detective who fucked her over in 3 different
just
court
completely
cases.
bungled her case.
If anyone should lose their jobs, we can count 10 people.
Quote, this is Louise talking about her job being cut. Quote, I realized that they didn't want me around anymore. I burst into tears and just could not speak. My well-being started to go downhill. I thought, how dare they? The decision came after 12 years of having her work funded by the government and helping hundreds of survivors navigate the complexities of the judicial system. She went on to say, quote, sitting in that Zoom meeting, I felt like I had stepped back in time because many years ago, my voice was taken away from me, and now they're going to do it again. I'd still love for MSD, which is the Ministry of Social Development, to turn around and say, you know what? You're doing an amazing job. Carry on. But I don't know that will happen. Still, Louise Nicholas hopes to continue her work in the future by setting up her own trust and seeking philanthropic funding and doing the work independently and through nonprofits. Because she is fucking tireless and amazing and a hero. And society failed her.
Can we write her a letter?
Yeah, we can.
I like her a lot.
I know.
Send her a Christmas card.
So thank the fucking fan picker for destroying our mental health.
Yeah, that's tough.
Fucking Gabby.
It's tough, Gemma.
I mean, Gemma.
I was like, who's Gabby? I'm just
you
gonna
know
go
what,
with
Gemma? Now you're Gabby. That's how
Yeah.
mad at you we are.
Lucy knew something we didn't. You're Gabby now. Enjoy.
Sorry, Gemma. I like the name Gemma.
I know, it's
Well,
really cute.
My cousin's filthy child's name is Gemma.
Explain, Gemma.
Lauren's youngest. Her name is Gemma, and she's always just covered in like soot or chocolate or
She's super cute.
Where is
cute.
there so much accessible soot?
she's
for her to
always
be covered in?
outside. She's feral. She's always outside getting into something. She's this tiny little girl, and she has blonde hair, and she's so cute, but she's always filthy. And the last family gathering we were at, Lauren was like holding a beer and like holding some other things, and
Doesn't
she
she
actually
have
like
4? Doesn't Lauren have 4?
yes,
So it's the
What?
youngest of 4. So
She's the youngest of 4.
She's on her own.
Yeah.
complete. She
No
lives
one has
outside.
time for her.
Fending
This is
for
it.
herself, this
So-
little blonde girl in pigtails.
Lauren's
Oh my
holding
God.
a beer and like trying to get something. She spilled some beer, and Gemma happened to be standing like right under her, and she got beer all over herself. And Lauren was like, she's fine.
And didn't Gemma go, I'm a mess?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
She ran up to her aunt, my cousin Jen, and she's just dirty as usual. She just goes, I'm a mess.
Yeah.
And
Can
you could
see
tell it's one of
that.
those things that everyone just always tells her, you're a fucking mess.
You're a mess. She's like, I fucking
Oh
love
my
that.
God. I'm a mess.
I'm a mess.
I'm not well. Poor Gemma.
anyway,
Get her a
so-
bath. Get her a
Well,
bathtub.
when I think of Gemma, I think of, I'm a mess.
Lauren's a
Wow.
great mom. She just has 4. There's a lot
Well,
happening.
Yeah. I'm not.
Oh, she's a fantastic mom.
Yeah.
She's just very realistic, as we should all be.
All right. Let's hear a quick word from our sponsors.
Oh my God. If you are like me and every hot-blooded American, you dread looking at your credit card statements.
Yep.
Okay? You hate it. And you're not alone. I'm right there with you. It's terrible. And the weight of debt can be just like super overwhelming, but Upstart can help you on your path to financial freedom. Tell us more.
Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan all online. So whether that is for paying off credit cards, been there, or consolidating high interest debt, or funding personal expenses. Over 1 million people have used Upstart to get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. So rather than just looking at credit score alone, Upstart actually considers other factors like your income, your current employment, and your credit history to find you a smarter rate for your loan. And that is so important because credit scores, man,
yeah,
sometimes they don't reflect
The whole story.
They do not tell the whole story.
Yeah.
No.
You can check your rate without impacting your credit score in minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. And you can even receive funds as fast as one business day after accepting your loan.
Amazing.
So find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/gals. That's upstart.com/gals. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know that we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Upstart.com/gals and treat your debt relief.
Trade it.
Trade it.
Well, it's the holidays, and I have a lot of like younger nephews, nieces, people to shop for. And I want to get them something that will actually engage them, like help them grow, be a better citizen, etc. And you know, there's nothing better than watching those little kids' imaginations in action as they unlock new ways of seeing the world. And Little Passports offers award-winning play-based kits that fuel curiosity through fun, hands-on activities. They will love the feeling of discovery almost as much as you will love watching them explore.
These kits are seriously so cute. So I got the Early Explorers one for Bill's godson. And there's like, it came with this really cute little box that looks like a suitcase.
It's
and
adorable.
He is obsessed with stickers. So it also comes with these little stickers, like they look like all the places you visited that you could like put on the outside of your suitcase. And he just like went nuts for it. He loves it so much. It's also just like Lucy said, a really fun hands-on activity, gets the kids away from screens, which I know are like such a godsend, but it's also great to do things that are not so screen focused. And these are like just fun little activities that your kiddos can do. Whether they're exploring the science of optical illusions or art in Spain, your child will love the feeling of discovering something new every month with a Little Passports subscription. So each month, Little Passports ships kits full of hands-on activities that let your child take the reins in exploring the world around them. As a kid, there's nothing more exciting than connecting to new cultures, places, and ideas.
And
as an
also
adult,
receiving mail. Kids
kids
love
love to get mail.
Oh my goodness.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
They go nuts for it. And as an adult, you can't help but smile as you watch them open up to all of life's possibilities. This is like an awesome gift to give to somebody if you don't have kids or you have nieces and nephews, godchildren, and you're like not quite sure and you don't want to just get them another toy.
Right.
Like this is a really impactful and interactive gift that's going to be different every month. I love it. And there's super fun kits that are designed for curious kids. Little Passports is the perfect gift for the little adventurer in your life. And there's a few different ones that you can find on their website. I got the Early Explorers kit. It's for kids ages 3 to 5, and this ignites their imagination and curiosity with hands-on activities, games, and stories that explore the wonders of the world from the deep sea to dinosaurs. What kid doesn't love dinosaurs?
Exactly.
What adult doesn't love dinosaurs?
Seriously. But, there's a lot of ages that are covered here. So you can do this Science Junior kit for ages 5 to 8. The World Edition kit for older kids, 6 to 10. I'm definitely really interested in this for my older niece. That one explores new cultures one country at a time through projects, puzzles, souvenirs, and activities that spark a global connection. So that one's really, really cool.
So this holiday, give the young explorer in your life a world of adventure. Get 20% off any new subscription with promo code GALS, GALS, at littlepassports.com. Order by December 20th for Christmas delivery, free shipping included. That's littlepassports.com, promo code GALS, and treat your kiddos.
Treat them. Are you ready for my case?
I don't know. Is it a downer?
Probably.
It's not great.
It's a fucking downer. Yep, I'm ready.
Yeah.
We're ready.
I'm girding my loins.
It's fine. I mean, trigger warning, infant death.
Okay.
But it's fine.
Great.
I also just thought, this case would be apropos of pending potential Supreme Court decisions hot in the news right now here in the U.S. So.
Yep, definitely was feeling those feels.
Yeah. When we picked and wrote our cases, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just a very tragic picture of what withdrawing and withholding resources from people for reproductive health care can result in. So it's what it's.
Okay.
So I am covering the story of Wilhelmina Dean, a.k.a. Minnie Dean. Minnie played her cards a little close to the chest and was pretty successfully withholding about her early years, once writing, quote, "Who my parents were or what they were concerns no one, although I have no doubt that problem has already been solved by the public to their own satisfaction." And it kind of had, so here's what public record is able to tell us.
Is she the bad person?
Yep.
Okay.
She was born in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1847. She had one sister and her parents were devout Christians. Her father was a clergyman and her mother died of cancer when she was only 11 years old. Left to care for the children alone, her father saw to it that they had a well-rounded education. I think that included boarding school where it was like, just, you gotta
It's like,
go.
I can't
do it.
I'm a single father. I can't do any
I
of
can't do
this.
anything. Yeah.
Which
Ship
is
'em off.
an old-timey. Single
That's
dads today
Still
are
too
amazing.
much exists today in some cases of fathers getting like major accolades for like basic level parenting.
Parenting.
Yeah.
On that binary. Anyway, both sisters got a great education, and Minnie was actually married off pretty young. I think she was like just 18 or maybe even 17. She had 2 daughters of her own in that marriage, but it's a bit murky what her life was like at this time or like where her husband ended up. Like she says she's widowed, but there's like no record of the first marriage to begin with. But this was the 1800s, so that's not actually like fishy. It just is. They were like
maybe
they were married,
officially married, or
I
maybe
think they were
just
married
separated, and
I think they were married and they had kids and he died. And there just isn't a lot of available record to corroborate any of that. She's not like a husband murderer. So there's
Okay.
no reason for that to go.
to be suspicious.
To go unbelieved. So she moved after the husband died. So she's widowed now. She moved with her kids to Invercargill, New Zealand to live with an older aunt who she referred to as Granny Kelly. And Granny Kelly helped her with the children, and they lived harmoniously together for several years until Minnie married Charles Dean, thus becoming Minnie Dean.
There's a lot of like cutesy names happening here.
I know. That it's the only good part.
Granny Kelly, Minnie Dean.
So Minnie and Charlie did not have children of their own, but they did adopt a child in 1881. And Minnie's children from the previous marriage at this point were like old enough to basically be out of the house. I don't know if they were like adults, but they were at least boarding school age.
Okay, off on their own.
So the growing family moved to a 22-acre estate known as the Larches at East Winton.
That sounds really scary.
It is.
The
and
Larches.
if you'd like to go to the drive,
Yes.
my pictures are terrifying, and don't scream or ask about one that I know you're going to scream or ask about yet. Like I just said.
I didn't scream. I
didn't scream
I
or
know.
ask.
But I can feel it coming.
I
Because
screamed
we'll get to
silently.
it.
I screamed inside my heart.
We'll
and also
get to
outside
it.
my mouth.
Jesus Christ.
So, seeing the growing need for childcare and the growing number of young mothers in the area who had no viable options when they became pregnant, Minnie started taking in babies on this like farm / estate.
Ramshackle.
But what was growing here really wasn't a child care facility or orphanage. It was a literal baby farm for profit.
Yeah.
Like
my
vaguely
God.
shrouded as a care home and adoption center for illegitimate infants.
A baby farm.
Which was like a thing, which we'll get to it. So
Yeah.
it wasn't long before authorities were looking a little closer at the Larches when in 1889, a 6-month-old infant died there only 3 days after going into Minnie's care. The baby had fallen ill while in her care, but the death certificate didn't list any illness, but a vague cause of death attributed to, quote, natural causes and convulsions. 2 years later, a 6-week-old baby died in her care, which sparked an inquest, but the death was once again ruled natural. Now, what she was doing was a legal business at the time, so they weren't going to shut her down for taking in babies and either caring for them for a fee or placing them for adoption for a lump sum. Like, this was a thing. This practice
worked back then.
Yeah.
Yep. This practice was quite popular in New Zealand at the time due to the social ostracism associated with having children out of wedlock. So despite limited means, Dean took in as many as 9 children at a time. But if the conditions of these baby farms were subpar, that's where authorities can intervene and shut down the business.
Right. And so far, 2 babies are dead. So.
Yep. Exactly. So her business was profitable, so she couldn't have that. And after the deaths of these children, the police were watching her closely. So this is an excerpt from an article in like New Zealand history, their version of .gov.
Pocket guide.
NC. Yeah, probably. Quote, police had found that she had been looking for more children to take into her care and that she had tried unsuccessfully to take out life insurance policies on some of the infants.
You definitely don't want your daycare lady to
Nope.
take out a life insurance policy on your kid.
Yeah, well, and it's not daycare, it's like
Yeah.
foster, but yes,
But
it's
still.
it's just as sketchy as
It's
that.
not
Real
good.
sketch.
It's not good. In 1892, Christchurch police took charge of a 3-week-old child that Dean had adopted from its single mother for £25. Police traced Dean to a boarding house and found the child in very dirty clothes and being fed from a bottle containing sour and curdled milk.
Oh, God. Oh.
The baby's mother said she could scarcely recognize her child as it had so altered for the worse in the 2 days that Dean had looked after it.
2 days.
The police thought that they had probably saved the baby's life. I'm sure that,
Yeah.
they did. They remained suspicious and kept Dean under surveillance. And in 1893, the commissioner of police wrote to the minister of justice with renewed concerns about Dean's activities, end quote. Then in 1895, things escalated. Minnie was seen on May 2nd boarding a train with a living infant in one arm and a hat box in the other. But the guard who saw her board the train also saw her on her return trip with only the hat box, which train porters who assisted Minnie in stowing the box said felt suspiciously heavy. Concerned that the child with her had possibly been tossed from the train along the way, a team went looking along the tracks for several miles and found nothing. The train station guard alerted police to the suspicious incident, who immediately went to Minnie's home to poke around.
To the
Police-
Larches.
Yes, to the Larches. Police almost immediately discovered shallow graves in Minnie's flower garden with infant remains buried within.
So she, okay, was she like pathological and liked killing children, or was she just so negligent that like a lot died, but she
I
was
think it's
trying to make money?
I think it's mostly the latter. I think this was a woman who had no fucking clue what she was doing and found a way to like make quick, good money. But
And if
then,
she couldn't place a kid and it was like draining the resources.
right? Or I mean, and I think she took in too many and she couldn't keep up.
And had like life insurance on it.
Right. I mean, I think. Well, I don't think she unsuccessfully tried to take out life insurance policies, so that didn't
That
work.
scheme didn't work. Okay.
Correct, but
Some aspect of
She's-
this charade worked.
she's using human children for capital gain, and it's obviously not going well because she's not properly caring for them.
Jesus.
And we'll kind of get to it, but I actually don't think that it was pathological in the sense of I'm seeking out children to murder.
Kill. Right. That was my question.
I think it's like a pathological level of negligence. She didn't give a shit about these kids.
She's
she just wanted the money.
sociopath.
Exactly.
But,
That's my take on it. But
right. But was it sociopathic negligence or was it fucking premeditated homicide?
Yeah, I think it's sociopathic negligence. I don't actually think she was picking up the children with the intent to kill them, because you can get like double pay
right,
if
she can get
if
money
the child
by placing
lives.
them.
Yeah, you get money for placing the child. If the child lives and they're in her care long term with the intention of returning to the parent, they're paying a fee for the child care. So like she's not going to make any money if the baby dies, especially if she's not successful in getting the life insurance policy. Now, if she had gotten those policies, I think we'd be having a different conversation.
Right. She was open to the premeditation.
Oh, absolutely. She was looking into any way to make money off of these infant children.
Oh,
it's so sad.
And she was running this by herself. Like she didn't have she didn't have employees.
She didn't really have employees. Her husband, there are reports that like he did not support this and did not have anything to do with it, but he also didn't turn her in. He upheld it by just living on the property and not fucking doing anything about it.
Right.
So,
oh my God. Ugh.
So the remains were identified as those of Ava Hornsby, Dorothy Carter, and an unidentified toddler boy. Minnie and her husband Charles were both arrested, and the 6 ailing but still living children on the property were taken into foster care. And Charles ended up being released later without charges because it was like, she did it. It's like, okay, white man, have a nice day. Top of the muffin to you. Baby Dorothy was sold to Minnie at only a month old by her grandmother, who had met Minnie at a train station about 10 miles from Invercargill. So this is not uncommon. Like an unmarried young person has a baby
and they don't know what to do.
And they don't know what to do with it. And the mother of the pregnant person or the parent of the pregnant person is like, Grandma will take care of it.
We're going to find somewhere to put this kid.
Yep. We'll send you to camp for 9 months and then you'll either have a baby sister, weirdly, or we make other arrangements.
Right. Exactly.
Magically.
Yeah. So the police, this is a quote, the police theory was that she had taken the Carter infant, so baby Dorothy, on the train from Winton and changed trains to get to Lumsden. During the trip to Lumsden, she had killed the child and concealed its body in a hat box she was carrying. Staying overnight in Lumsden, she boarded the Waimea Plains train to Gore, where she then boarded the Dunedin Express. At Milburn, she met Mrs. Hornsby. This is another grandmother to an illegitimate newborn. So doing the same thing. This is 2 grandbabies being turned over by their grandparent.
So why did she kill the first one? Just didn't.
We don't 100% know, but the cause of death kind of tells you. Leaving the hat box and its contents in a waiting room while she got the other child. She was accompanied by Miss Hornsby on another train to Clarendon, the next station on the way to Dunedin. She alighted with Ava Hornsby, the little baby, in her arms and waved goodbye to Mrs. Hornsby, who continued on to Dunedin. It is here where Ava Hornsby, the baby, was smothered. So maybe she was tucked in the hat box. Like, we don't know.
But you're not suggesting it was an accident.
No. Dean wrapped her body into a parcel and boarded the train back to Clinton. So I think the only way it could have been an accident is if she was trying to conceal the child to get back on the train because she was like using her return ticket. And there were now going to be like multiple babies and not one. And then the baby didn't survive being wrapped up in linens and put in a box.
But given her track record, it probably was not an accident.
Right. On the way, she picked up the hat box from Milburn. So the one she left in storage while she picked up this other baby. Now she's carrying 2 dead babies. She went back to Winton. End quote.
That feels like now we've moved on to she's just killing babies.
Yep.
Collecting cash and not even
trying to place them. Yeah.
Right.
Coroner's reports determined that baby Dorothy had been killed with an overdose of laudanum, an opiate that at the time was commonly used to, quote, calm irritable infants.
Oh, so she wanted to just make it pass out so she could not have to deal with it on all of her fucking travels.
Right. So either she was trying to keep the child quiet and unconscious and that baby died accidentally, or both or intentionally killed
Using lots.
to do exactly what you said, take the lump sum, not have to spend any resources on these children, and bury them in the garden when she got home.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So she was arrested and charged with murder, and her trial began on June 18th, 1895. Her defense counsel did their best to prove that the deaths had been accidental and that Minnie had been trying to cover them up because of the recent bad press surrounding her business.
Well, yeah, when you kill 2 babies and then you kill 2 more in the same day.
Starts to look like a pattern.
and
Bad
you're
for
just
business.
Shoving infants in hat boxes on
The
trains.
Yelp reviews are not going to be good. Her lawyer, Alfred Handlin, later remarked that, quote, sober, home-loving folk from end to end of the country shuddered when the grim and ghastly story of Minnie Dean's infamy was narrated by the prosecution. Imagine a being with the name and appearance of a woman boldly using a public railway train for the destruction of her helpless victims, sitting serene and unperturbed in a carriage with one tiny corpse in a tin box at her feet and another enshrouded in a shawl and secured by traveling straps in the luggage rack at her head.
Oh, she
In
put
the
it in the
luggage
overhead.
rack.
The hat box was in the overhead luggage rack.
Oh, God.
That is one of the spookiest images I've
Is
ever.
it so scary?
I don't know why
It's
that's
so
the
fucking
worst part
scary.
about this whole thing.
Oh, that quote is
Sitting
horrifying.
calmly in the fucking train. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so scary.
Please put your carry-on in the overhead compartment.
The trial was sensational, with folks flocking to bear witness, even going as far as to bring their own props to sell of crudely made baby dolls in hat boxes.
That's what that picture is.
Yep. We humans have always been harbingers of bad taste.
So
And yes, there is a photo of one of these horrific hat boxes on the drive.
people made those and sold them
Sold
to
them
gawkers at the trial.
Yep. Can you fucking even believe it? I mean, in a way, that's the version of like every Netflix documentary that sells merch, but like it's so much
It's
more horrific.
A little more visceral.
It's too on the nose.
Two on the nose.
I think this case has the
Oh.
creepiest photos I have ever included on this
Oh,
podcast,
yeah.
so you gotta look at the blog. It's nuts.
Just these
Like her house,
Barefoot.
her
These like
Children.
late 19th century black
Yeah.
and white grainy ass photos are so creepy.
Yeah. And that the picture of that group of kids, the shoeless children,
Yes.
those are all the kids that were taken from the home on the day she was arrested.
So they're all
saved.
okay.
They were saved.
Yeah, exactly.
One of them's called Baby Gray. Baby Gray.
All the names are so darling. Ethel,
know.
Maud, Florence, Esther, Cecil, Arthur.
So cute.
Gray.
Little baby. The prosecution was able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Minnie had intentionally murdered baby Dorothy with the laudanum, but were unable to prove that she was responsible for the death of baby Ava. Despite only one upheld and proven murder charge, Minnie was found guilty of murder and sentenced to death by hanging. Her final words were, quote, "No, I have nothing to say except that I am innocent." Which, well, she def wasn't. So,
To which I say,
nope.
ha-da-da.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah. She was hanged in Invercargill on August 12th, 1895, and maintains the macabre designation of being the only woman to be executed in New Zealand history. The death penalty there has been abolished for some time now. Her crimes led to the belated passage of child welfare legislation in New Zealand, the Infant Life Protection Act in 1893 and the Infant Protection Act in 1896. Her death also left a lasting mark on New Zealand and seeped into local folklore. It was said that nothing would grow on that 22-acre farm ever again, not so much as a flower. It's also rumored that no grass will grow on her gravesite. It's just like a dirty...
That's how fucking foul this soul is.
Yeah, it's just nothing can thrive anywhere near
Her
her.
remains are just like acid.
Cursed. Yeah.
Yeah.
She became the boogeyman of the Southland area, and parents would even threaten naughty children to behave or they'd send them off to Minnie Dean's farm where they'd never be heard from again.
all three of us
Lucy-
would. Yeah, Lucy would definitely threaten her
Oh,
children.
I would 100% do it.
Eat your fucking carrots, kids.
Next time I'm babysitting my nieces for any length of time, and
tell
they're
them
being
the
naughty,
legend of
I'm gonna
Minnie
be like,
Dean.
"Have you heard about Minnie Dean and her baby farm?
Do you know how many hat boxes I have?
Come sit on Auntie's lap."
Oh my God.
I know
But yeah,
parents are so
maybe.
fucked up. I love it.
I love it.
Oh,
In 2009, a strange headstone was placed on Minnie Dean's grave, and I'm just going to go ahead and uphold that this was just mysterious and nobody knows who put it there. I could probably find out who put it there, but I didn't look harder. So it's a mystery.
Let's go with the illusion if it's more
Yep.
interesting.
We're going with the mystery. Apparently marked by an unrelated person, so just some rando. It reads, quote, "Minnie Dean is part of Winton's history. Where she now lies is now no mystery." It's like a little limerick.
Oh,
Weird.
She's in hell.
Who would take the time?
Well, and if you look, the stone is like, first of all, that shit's
carved.
expensive.
It's really nice.
It's
Yeah.
really nice. It's a really weird picture because it's all zoomed in, so I can't tell.
There's a
the
new
scale.
mystery. Who fucking took the time to do this?
I love it.
Isn't it weird?
A philanthropist, that's who.
But yeah, that's my case. It just gave me absolute
The
creep.
hat box, man. The hat
Shivers.
box in the overhead. I
Yeah.
can't.
This and the picture of her, she does look just totally calm. I mean, she is a fucking sociopath.
Yep.
She just looks like a totally normal lady.
The child that was rescued all the way on the far left is totally your eternally filthy niece.
Oh, she looks just like
Gemma.
Gemma.
Gemma. Baby
I'm a
Gemma.
mess.
I'm a mess.
The little dirty legs. Poor thing.
Oh, God.
God.
At least they were able to rescue these other children, and I hope that they were placed in good foster families and eventually permanent.
She
families.
cared for a lot of kids over the course of the years that she ran this farm. Like, it's not like she's keeping meticulous records.
Right.
And these are all like kind of under the table. I'm just trying to figure out how to hide this from society transactions.
Right.
So some reports were like, yeah, she cared. Hundreds of children came through the doors. Some were like, I don't know, said maybe between 30 and 50 over the years. Either way, at least, 4, likely 6 children didn't survive her care.
Minimum. You got to think minimum because
I mean, they did like peruse the grounds. They found the 3 remains in the garden. I don't think that there were other remains found. She had 2 children die in her care that were ruled
that were known.
natural causes that were known. So that's 5 as
and
far
then
as we
2
know.
more.
Yeah.
because the babies.
These 2 babies were the remains found in the garden, plus a 3rd. So that's 3, and then the 2 known is 5. But so, I mean, it's not a lot. It's not a lot of kids.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah. It's
it's one of the creepiest cases I've ever researched, and I've made the mistake now of just like keeping the blog photo, the drive photos open, and the Hatbox fake baby is just staring at me, and it's really creepy and it's throwing me off.
really,
Closed.
really
Closed it.
scary.
It's
Don't
so
like it.
scary.
It's the scariest doll
Ever.
I've ever seen.
Ever.
It has
Ever.
horns?
I don't know.
It looks like one of those turnip carvings,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, the Halloween
like the
turnip.
original jack-o'-lantern
Yeah.
out of a turnip.
It totally does. Yeah. Okay, I can't
Well,
look at it anymore.
My
It's too
sweet
scary.
dreams.
All right, well, that's great. And despite all of its horrors, New Zealand is a wonderful place.
Can't
and
wait to visit.
when it's safe, everyone should visit. Okay, we love you all.
Love you. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Wine and Crime. Our cover art is by Kala Yip, music by Phil Young and Corey Wendell, editing by Jonathan Camp. Check out our website and blog at wineandcrimepodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wine and Crime Pod. If you have questions, answers, or recommendations to share, email us at wineandcrimepodcast@gmail.com. Episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, basically wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Podcasts. And if you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. It is the best way to spread the word. If you'd like to show your support, visit our Patreon page to keep this podcast and the wine flowing. Cheers!
Recently, our client John met his banker to discuss plans for a clean energy building. What he found was a shared passion for building something more. Momentum for change. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/John.